Today I'll be talking about my tabbing system, and this is how I tab my books. You can get these at any stationery shop or bookshop, and while the colors that I use have varied with time, because I used to use the same colors, and then I remember seeing someone who tabs based on the color of their book, and I thought that was really cute, so I play it by ear. There are 5 key things that I tab, and that cuts across fiction and nonfiction, although it might vary a little bit. So the first thing is themes. So I think that's self-explanatory. I think it's more obvious maybe in nonfiction sometimes, but even within fiction, you can see what the general themes of a book are, and it's a useful way for me to reflect on sometimes what the book is about, what the author is centering, what the author is making us think about. So I tend to tab themes. The second thing I tend to tab is what I would call like world building or setting. And again, that's very academic in a way, but it applies more so in fiction, especially because I read Afrofuturism, fantasy, a bit of that genre where we need to get situated in the world where I am, the characters, if they have superpowers or something special about them, their origin story, I need to keep up with that. So I tend to tab that. If it's particularly hefty, I might separate the characters and the setting and tab those separately. But yeah, I tend to have a setting / world building tab. And then the third thing that cuts across fiction and nonfiction is what I would call references. And so again, in nonfiction, it's more obvious. Like if the author references their source material, whether that's another book, another author, whether it's a research article or paper that they've read, a place, things like that that are contextually relevant and useful to read up after reading the book, then I will tab those. In a fiction sense, it could be something that the characters in the books talk about, like, oh, my favorite artist is so and so, or I love this author. So sometimes even in fiction, we have references to things, places, people, real, even research. So I tend to have a tab for that. The fourth thing I have a tab for is just prose, phrases, sentences, pages that I enjoyed for one reason or another. So just things that I loved about the book. And then I would say the last thing that I tab is things I find interesting. And I use the term interesting loosely because sometimes it's just something that makes me pause, like, do I agree with that? What do I think about that? And I find like this tab is quite helpful for me to create journal prompts out of, or if I was in a book club setting, this would be the tab that would inspire the kind of questions I ask other people. Like, when you read that, what did you think about that? Or what did that make you feel? Or yeah, it's just like the reflective tab. So those are the 5 things that I tend to tab when I read my books. What do you tend to tab? What's your tabbing system like? And then hopefully in the next video I can talk more about now taking my tabbed information into like my notes and then formulating a review of the books that I've read. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.